down. You cut the hardcore crew chewing the fat. You cut us shooting the shit. You cut us in the moment.
He has a different last name. He is a McMahon. Like it or not.
So he's more of a McMahon than anything else.
You
who
think
else
Cornette could do it?
Cornette?
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe Cornette, but I don't know if I can see him more in that capacity as an owner than a booker.
I think Cornette's very, very passionate. But I don't. As much as I hate to say it, I don't think he could on that scale. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I know Jim Cornette, and just like I know Paul Lee, because that would have been my next one, Paul Heyman. They have never been part of a promotion that large. You know, you can't count TNA because TNA still was like indie level, even though they had TV. But yeah, they never hit that high stride type of promotion, even though Paul had ECW and they had TV. But I think it was the same level as TNA, where it was mostly an indie company with TV coverage. So neither one of those guys would have that ability to run a multi-million-dollar company. Even if you had all the help in the world, I just don't see it.
I think it could be like a combination of guys running it.
Okay.
You know what? I disagree, because then you fall into the thing of the NWA Board of Directors, where there was so many chiefs.
And not enough Indians?
No, you basically have what was going on in, like I said, back in the NWA and even in WCW, where they had too many people barking orders.
How about one name that we haven't thought about? How about Eric Bischoff?
I wouldn't.
If we want to kill the company.
Yeah, that's
no. I have to say, Eric Bischoff, regardless of what happened with WCW, let me put it like this to you guys, as a former promoter, and I also have like an announcement to make about that as well. Basically, when you go from Eric Bischoff came from a mediocre company like the AWA, okay. When you go from that little company and you're now the boss of a multi-million-dollar company with all the top game players, and you're beating Vince McMahon, who's been in the business longer than you do get a swell head. And I think that's what happened with Eric Bischoff. He got an ego. He got too much into it. He trusted the wrong people.
He met Hogan.
You know what? Hogan is bad, but at the same time, I have to say he's not as bad as a Shawn Michaels. Hogan can be controlled if you have the stern power like Vince McMahon. Because let's face it, Hulk Hogan had more power in WWF of the 80s/90s than his run in WCW. And if as long as you can curb that leash, you can curb that dog and whip him when he gets out of line, then he's not going to do anything. That's the problem with WCW. Eric Bischoff never was in that ability to say, hey, you know what? You can't do this. You can't do that. Because they're going to look at him like, who are you? You were just like a used car salesman. You were like with Vern. So I think that's the problem with what happened there. I'm not defending Eric. I'm just looking at like in light of many different things I read about it. I think Eric just let the thing go to his head. And if given the opportunity today, even with TNA, with that type of company, he can turn it around because he will have learned from his mistakes.
Well, I got a big difference with you on that one. Because look what happened when he was with TNA.
But remember, he wasn't overly in charge. He wasn't overly in charge. It was still under the money mark of Dixie Carter. So He wasn't given, even though he had some creative ability, Dixie still was the one calling the real shots. And even Hogan has said that during many of his interviews, you know. So it was kind of a pull and push and pull and push type deal. If Bischoff had complete power with no Dixie say, I think it would have been turned around a little bit more. Would it have been better? Maybe. Would it have been worse? Possibly. But it would have been a totally different TNA.
Okay. Well, guys, right now we are in the moment, and just to let everyone else know, what the hell are we talking about? What we're talking about right now is if for some reason, if the McMahon company, if Vince McMahon or the family, crashed and burned, who would be able to step up and run the WWE? And so far, a couple of names that we talked about, I said possibly, what about John Cena? Could he do it if he had retired from wrestling and just became a owner? If he could own the WWE or run the WWE, and we said not necessarily. Another name came up was Jerry Jarrett, and we also now are talking runner of a manager of WCW. He's also was been in the WWF or the WWE, and he's also been in TNA. So it's a strong. I think he's a strong runner. Does anybody else know of anybody else that could possibly run the WWE or own the WWE if hypothetically the McMahons up and left, and they cannot be a member of the McMahon family, a non-McMahon member?
Well, if we're going own, one name pops in my mind. Not necessarily that he'd run it very well or that he would run it. Trump.
Well, I don't think
he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's in the, but would he do a good job at it? I mean, obviously he could purchase it. He has the money to buy it. But again, would he do anything good with it?
In my opinion, I think what you're going to see is another Ted Turner issue where here's another guy who basically has all the money but no knowledge.
Exactly. I agree. And I think when you get down to it, Vince McMahon, there's only one Vince McMahon. The McMahon family, you have Stephanie, who obviously she is an heir to the throne. She is definitely the princess who obviously has learned a lot from her father. Triple H married into the family, so he's definitely learned a lot from the family. So is he going to be as good? Nowhere near as good, but he's, obviously he's stepping up to the plate to a point, and he is definitely bringing a lot of people back. He's remended some bridges, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, and such and such. The lines going on. So I don't think he'll ever be a Vince McMahon or a McMahon at all. But you know what, guys? Let's move on. We have right now also another thing we're talking about. This past Monday Night Raw, guys, Batista had a little bit of problem with his jeans, apparently.
Oh, no.
Yeah. As we all know, he'd ripped his, super tight jeans, which apparently he really likes wearing. He's been wearing them for the past couple of weeks, and apparently got ripped as and the whole WWE universe was not only poking fun at him, but apparently the people in the back was poking fun at them and regularly were mocking him in the backstage. And just for the way he's been dressing, because he's dressing like a teenager and he's like in his 40s, and it's just not looking well. And the fact that it ripped right and split right down his ass is just making him more look like an ass. Pun intended. Yes, that was a big pun. Guys, any thoughts or jokes or puns, please chip in.
Well, it makes me wonder, why was Randy Orton laughing at the slap after Stephanie slapped the hell out of him, or because Batista ripped his pants?
And that's a fair point, because I didn't even catch that he could not keep the laughing off his face. He's like, holy shit, you just figured out. Yeah, that makes a lot of good sense. Joe?
Oh, jeez.
He did start laughing after Batista turned around.
Yeah, you could tell everybody assumed that something was going on, and that apparently it was Batista's ass that was showing there. I don't know why Batista would wear tight clothes. He's not a teenager anymore. Just, wear comfortable clothing, and I think from now on you'll probably see him wearing comfortable clothing.
And now it's time for this YouTube word search of the week: Midget Puntkick.
Oh, what?
Wow, he's getting his ass kicked.
Hey, we should start recording now. We're just like, damn.
We are recording again.
Oh, Lord Almighty.
Damn. he got punted to the guy. And it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Oh, Lord.
That's a fuck up. Wow, that was a badass punt.
You know, right? I just like it how he just.
Made Randy Orton look like a fucking weak.
I just like it how he just he pops the midget on the head. The midget just readily sat down and he just went doing for the diving kick.
Now that's comedy. So you got to re-edit it and put midget punting.
Yeah.
Welcome to the word of the week. Today's word of the week is midget punting.
Yeah. Today's word search of the week: midget punting.
Now, we don't discriminate. It's not like we hate midgets or anything. I love hobbits. I think everybody should have one.
I think
everybody likes El Torito.
Yeah.
Where have they had the word from?
What, Andy?
Where have they got the word punting from?
I have no. I guess it was more of a diving drop kick.
Yeah, because if you look at that video I'm posting, punting in the UK.
Yeah.
Right now, James, I believe you wanted to talk about this WrestleMania's Total Divas. Some battle royal match. Are they going
No. So basically, on Monday Night Raw, Vicky Guerrero made the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational. I looked up the rules on WWE.com. It says one fall to the finish. So basically, you're going to have 14 divas battling each other. And one of them is going to walk away with the Divas Championship. I'm no for one sure AJ Lee has no chance in hell on retaining that Divas Championship. And here's why. A few things that come to mind. Number one, remember, Naomi was originally scheduled to win the Divas Championship. So there's the possibility that Naomi can win that title from AJ. Number two was that there was that rumor killer. I never heard the rumor until someone this not going to happen. Was that Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella was each going to win their title, with Daniel Bryan winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and Brie Bella winning the Divas Championship. And they said that, it's not going to happen. So that person, whoever wrote that report, might be lying. So I think Brie could win it also. And the fact that Tamina is basically now breaking away from AJ, which have the possibility that if she does a feud with AJ, it could also be for the title where Tamina is the champion. But as I said, I think Rick said that it's not true. No, but before I mention that part, also the fact that they could give it to a Total Divas, because the Total Divas ratings from the premiere wasn't as great as it was for the first season. And it kind of raised up a little bit from last week's show, but it wasn't that great. But let's just say for me, with AJ, being the longest reigning Divas champion, and she needs to have the title taken off of her. But I also feel that, and I know Rick disagrees with this, I believe she's getting punished for what I would see in Punk walking away.
Yeah, I think it's a total disagreement on that. That's just personally me. I don't know exactly the time, but she's had it for probably the longest running Divas at this point in time. And not to mention, she has to face 13 other divas, and for her to to be taken down. So that's not a punishment. Um, so, for her to be get punished, it would be like almost something like a Daniel Bryan type thing, where she would like go into WrestleMania, fight like a jobber, and get her ass kicked in like 3 seconds. Even to lose it on like not even on like WrestleMania, to lose it like on like the lame event or on like SmackDown. She has to go to WrestleMania to lose against 13 other divas. So, Joe, would you agree with me or disagree with me on that one? And he's not there.
Yep, no, I'm here.
Oh.
I definitely have to disagree with you because we've all known that in the WWE back, office area behind the curtain, they do take times to punish talent. For either is it for somebody else's fault, for they're associating with, it has happened throughout many times. Remember when the Clique went out during that Madison Square Garden event and they all hugged each other? Triple H got punished for that. When Christian went over to TNA and he came back, he got punished for that. It's now that CM Punk, who was the megastar, close to even as Daniel Bryan on the same level, decides to go home. Obviously, you're going to still see CM Punk because he's with AJ Lee. So what better way to kind of punish, to kind of lure him back into the office to talk to him than to punish his, little girlfriend? I think it is. I agree with James. I think that's what's going on. And at the same time, I think they're prepping for a new champion. James, I have to disagree on one thing. I hope they don't give it to a total diva. But if they do, then yeah, they'll give it to probably Nikki. But I hope they go with Tamina because after all that build up, I see her. In my head I see it like this. Here's AJ. She has someone in her face. She has, let's say, Natalia or Nikki in her submission hold, and all of a sudden here comes this big boot, kicks her across the face. She gets pinned, and it's Tamina to cement that. So that's how I look at that, scenario. And again, she could be being punished for CM Punk.
You know what, Lance? What do you think? What are your thoughts about this whole scenario? This whole 13 or 14 diva match.
Well, to me, it's kind of like this. Okay, yeah, they must have thought, yeah, how are we going to do? Who are we going to use in the match at Run event? Then somebody popped up and said, how about all of them?
Well, you know what? I'm also wondering that this WrestleMania is supposed to be quote unquote, and keep in mind this is not my this is WWE's term, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. So what do they have to do? They're trying to fit in everybody in this WrestleMania. I mean, we already have the 30-man Battle Royal, Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Of course, they have to make it an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal to make it something significant. Now they have, just last week they added this 14, 14, match, diva match. So right there, there's 44 people. Say again?
I'm gonna say the reason why this is kind of is big because this is the first time the Divas title being defended at WrestleMania.
Well, then let's look at the other multi-matches they have. They have a whole bunch of multi-matches. You have that triple threat match for the heavyweight title at the end of the night. It's either Daniel Bryan or Triple H. And now they added the tag team title in a 4-way with 4 teams. So I think they're looking at just, let's just throw everybody into this melting pot and see what happens. I think that's way overkill. And for the Divas, and James, you're the man of the Divas, I have to ask this question. Wouldn't it made it been more significant if they would have just done a one-on-one match, like AJ versus a top contender, build up the storyline from there, climax it at WrestleMania, do the big split with AJ and Tamina, and then move forward? Or would you rather see this clusterfuck of all these, bouncing booby babes jumping back and forth?
I'd rather have it as a regular one-on-one, because what it is that it tells me it's like WWE has no real direction with the divas. AJ, basically, this story was supposed to be, AJ says she has no contender for the Divas Championship. She beat all the Divas. So what Vicky Guerrero do? Put all the Divas fight AJ. I just rather had one-on-one, had somebody beat AJ fairly, not have this random 14 diva stuff.
Yeah, and they've had the past couple of weeks to really make number one contender matches, and they just didn't. I mean, they did it with the IC title match, and even with that, they kind of did it like, okay, the number one contender match is going to fight on the WrestleMania, at the main event, and even that gets all messed up, which we're going to be talking about later on tonight. But I mean, I don't get why they just don't have. They should have been setting up like matches after matches after matches for number one contender matches. Tournament matches. That would have made for a better WrestleMania. Wouldn't you agree, Joe?
Absolutely. Again, look at the era of the old WrestleManias. Look how they used to build up the storylines. And when you hit WrestleMania, it was you technically wanted to buy the pay-per-view because you wanted to see finally these two guys or the two tag teams or whomever battle it finally out. Let's remember the old, and I'm going to go on this rant here, let's go on the old Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat storyline. It took them almost a whole year, and they finally climaxed it at WrestleMania 3. Look at the tag titles, the British Bulldogs and the Dream Team. I mean, they really took the time to build the storylines, to build it enough that when you got to WrestleMania, you were satisfied with what you got. I think today is just... to me, WrestleMania 30, to me, gentlemen, looks like another Raw, a 3-hour Raw.
Yeah. Basically, it's a 5-hour Raw. Will, let me ask you right now, with this Diva match, instead of a 14 Diva match, who would you prefer to see AJ go against? If you could make your pick.
Oh, shit. This is the toughest question that's been brought to me. Well, let's see. Well, I do agree with Joe or James, whoever said that if you put the belt on a member of the Total Divas, that title is going to be somewhat meaningless because that's just going to boost somebody's ego. So I do agree on that point. But to answer your question, Rick, I would rather just have Tamina just turn face right there from there to face AJ for the title. Because it's the good build-up. And it would make a lot more sense. I mean, I know Naomi's deserving of it, but, her injury, she's still with her eye injury. And Brie Bella, I don't know. I haven't been sold on her just yet. So I would lean towards, right now, Tamina. I like what happened, and it would solidify as a better match than having a 13-on-1, but, we know how that's like.
Yeah. If you could also, Will, if you could pick a winner now you got this 14 debacle match of who do you think is going to come out on top?
Good one. Well, if I really have to, just to get to the next segment, I would have to really lean towards Tamina. Like I said, she's proven to be one of the more dominant divas, and I just don't think right now, in my respectable opinion, anybody from the Total Divas roster should have the belt right now. I would lean it towards Tamina, not to take it away from like Oksana, Alicia Fox, Rosa Mendes, not to take it from them, but like Joe said, you need a good build-up to make a match interesting. So I would really want Tamina to win this one and going towards Mania. I pick Tamina.
All right. Anybody else have their picks?
As I said, I have it between 3. if it's not either Brie Bella or Naomi, it was gonna be Tamina. As I say, Brie Bella or Naomi, one of those two total divas, just to help boost the ratings. That's why I think that's why they want to give it to them. Naomi, just because she should get that run, that fair run with the title, because she hasn't gotten a run, and also with Brie Bella is because her wedding's coming up soon, and they might give her the title.
All right.
One person
Lance.
we have. Yep, I was going to ask for Lance.
Lance, what would you have for a pick?
I got two. One top, because Tamina.
Top wrong company.
Well, a big Samoan with a kind of a fro. It's kind of that can be mixed up. Anyway, Tamina, and two, just to see Billy jump the rail. Oksana.
Don't jump the rail, Billy. Don't jump the rail.
All right. And
You know
Joe,
what?
What about you?
I have to say, I have to agree with Lance. It'll either have to be Tamina, but then I thought of something funny. What if this turns out to be the night of flukes, and the Emanation won the title? Emanation, whatever that little freaking Jan Brady lookalike does. You know,
Marsha.
Well, wouldn't it be hilarious though? Here's the Santino Marella of the Divas division, where her weird dance, she trips. You know, let's say Tamina does a big boot to AJ. The Divas tackle Tamina and roll her outside. Emma's like beaten up. She stumbles and just drops right on top of AJ. And the referee says, "Oh, there's a pin. 1, 2, 3."
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
And you know what? That will make such a hilarious thing because we have yet to see a surprise. The one thing that nobody ever expects, and that's one thing that they always said WrestleMania is, expect the unexpected. I think I will actually like to see Emma win the title.
And I have an even bigger surprise. If James had to be a substitute referee in this match.
Yeah.
Lord, if I was a referee,
He wouldn't be able to count to 3. He'd be too busy. His eyes would be just, traveling elsewhere.
that's Rick.
Wouldn't it be funny, at that moment, he's in the ring, all the divas are battling around, James is waiting for the pin to see who's going to get pinned, all the divas stop, turn to look at him, "So, you're the king of divas, huh?" And they all just pound on him.
Greatest moment of my life! Ow, ow, ow.
They strip him naked.
Oh, no.
I'll be in my boxer shorts. My boxer briefs, sorry.
Well, for my picks, I definitely have to say Tamina and Naomi are definitely two of the top picks for me. If I had to say one of my surprise picks for wins, I would like to see Natalya win. She's definitely earned her, she's earned her stripes. Without a question, I think she should definitely have a title run.
I'm going to say this. If Eva Marie wins, I'll quit my job as the Divas correspondent.
But I think we're going to wrap this up right now for this edition of In the Moment, guys. We'd like to thank all of you for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe to our show over at youtube.com/HWR Show. And Joe, where can everyone find you at?
You can find me on Facebook at Joseph Knight Manager, and you can also find me on Twitter at J Manager.
We have Lance Moss over at Lance Moss TV. Lance, where can they find you at, and what do we got good going on?
You can find me at youtube.com/Lance Moss TV. Do a little bit album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck gourmet cooking videos, and whatever else pops in my head.
We have the iVlog tag team in the house. First, we have James from the Who Dat Temple. James, what's going on?
You can find me on ivlog.tv/users/fatboy504, and we do game shows, play games, talk about random stuff, like the WWE comic that I just picked up.
All right. And then we also have Will. We also have Will from God. Hold on. Then we also have the Bay Area MVP, known as Will. Will, what's going on?
Same thing over there with the tag team champion on iVlog. www.iblog.tv/user. Don't forget to put user this time, because my ghetto self can't do this right. /Bay Area MVP. We do same thing: game shows, sports debates, random topics, and please do not ask me about why did Andy tell me the other day about he doing a fandango, because I can't answer that. But other than that, we keep it live on iBlog and here on Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
Alright. And of course, you can always check us out on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And also, make sure you subscribe to us over at youtube.com/HWR Show. And if you ever want to listen to our main show at Hardcore Wrestling Radio, head on over to dailyemotion.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. So for everyone here, I'm the Shining Star, Rick Starr, saying we'll see you when we see you. Thank you for listening to this edition of In the Moment. Be sure to follow us over at our YouTube page at youtube.com/HWR Show and over at our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Until the next time, this is the Shining Star, Rick Starr, saying we'll see you when we see you.